Electronisounds Audio, the YouTube channel for you.
Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Dean from Electronisounds. Stick around. Today, we're going to be writing drum and bass beats inside of the Electron Digitakt using samples. Come on, let's have some fun. For those of you who aren't already familiar with me and what I'm about, I'm also a sound designer and a sample maker. I've made 7 sound banks of sounds for the Electron Digitakt, over 1,000 sounds. These are all the bread and butter sounds that you need to get up and writing tracks with the Digitakt right away. Everything from drums to melodic content is included. And I have a bundle pack at a greatly reduced price where you can get all 7 packs. A couple of months ago, I added a very special pack of drum and bass samples to this bundle. So any purchases of the Electron Digitakt bundle from my website, Electronisounds.com, now also get this bundle of drum and bass samples. I made a 20-minute live drum and bass set using 2 Digitakts and 2 Electron model samples. Afterwards, I collected all of the samples from all 4 boxes into one folder, and all of these samples are included now for all purchases of the Digitakt bundle. This is the pack of drum and bass samples that we're going to be working with today. All of these samples are tuned and ready to go at the tempo of 174 beats per minute in the key of F minor. You can of course use any drum and bass sample packs that you like inside of the Digitakt, but this pack is specially tuned so that all of the samples work together, and it's going to be super easy for us to put some beats together. Let's get into this. I've gone ahead and got a new session loaded up in the Digitakt, and we're already set to 104 beats per minute. The very first thing we're going to do today is go ahead and load up some hi-hat samples. So we're going to, let's see here, if you're in the main folder of the Digitakt, we're going to go to the drum and bass XXL folder. That's the folder of my bonus samples. And we're just going to start scrolling down through these samples, and we're going to find some close hi-hat samples to work with today. I'm going to go ahead and get our volume set there to start with. Here's some hats. Fantastic. Let's just go ahead and start loading these closed hi-hats up into the project. There's 10 closed hi-hats, and we're going to use the right button to go ahead and choose Load to Project. Load 10 samples, confirm. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and, I like to put my hi-hats on track number 3 so I can get my kick on 1 and my snare on 2. So we're going to go ahead and start writing on track number 3 today. We're going to go ahead and start by assigning one of those hi-hats that I just loaded up. Let's just go ahead and pick closed hi-hat 1 to start off with. And we're going to go ahead and just, let's see here. We're going to put that on every quarter beat to start us off with. Yeah, that sounds cool. Let's take the filter here, and let's put a high-pass filter on this to get rid of any excess low frequencies that may be hiding out in that sound. Let's go ahead and take another hi-hat now and lock it to another step so we can get some variations in the sound. We're going to hold this step down, press the source button, and here I can scroll the samples now. Maybe we'll pick a different hi-hat over here, and a different hi-hat over here. Maybe bring this one down in volume by holding it and turning the level down just a little bit on that individual step. Cool, maybe do the same for the rest of these. Bring them down in the mix just a little. Cool. Let's go ahead and fill this in, but let's do it with a little bit of randomness so that our hi-hat line is evolving and sort of moving as our groove starts building. Let's go ahead and lock another hi-hat to the second step here. That's cool. Let's go ahead and go to the amplitude page and make this one, make this one quite a bit shorter by adjusting the envelope time. And maybe bring the volume down on this one quite a bit. We're going to go over to the trigger page, and in the conditions, we're going to roll this knob to the left and maybe set this to I don't know, 75% chance that this note will trigger. And we're going to go ahead and copy this step by holding the step, hitting copy. My buttons are sticking, no mind. We're going to paste this, hit this step, paste it in, hit this step and paste it in. And let's just paste this in on all the other remaining steps. Now what you're going to hear right off the jump is that our hi-hat pattern is now kind of skipping around and kind of jumping and almost got a vibe on its own already. Let's go ahead and bring some more of these volumes down. Yeah, cool. Whoops, copy, paste that note back in. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and go to the page settings by hitting function and page. We can make this a 4-bar loop by hitting page a few times. So now we've got a 4-bar loop of hi-hats that are constantly evolving because we used the chance trigger conditions and we set some hi-hats to only trigger 75% of the time. We've got quite an evolving and moving hi-hat pattern happening already. Let's go ahead and add some other sounds to this, like a kick drum and a snare drum. Be sure and subscribe if you're into this kind of content. I'm trying really hard to hit 10,000 subscribers before the end of 2020. On this channel, I talk about everything from making music with Eurorack to making music with iPads. I talk about sound design and building live jams. I talk about new gear. I talk about old gear. All that good stuff. Be sure and subscribe. To find a snare drum and a kick drum, we're going to go ahead and go back into the samples menu. We're going to go ahead and go back into the main folder of DnB XXL here, and we're going to scroll down until we come to some kick drums. There's quite a bit of samples in this pack. We're going to go ahead and play the hats groove now and try to find a kick drum that goes with these hats. It's going to get a little loud. Kind of like that first kick drum, so we're just going to go ahead and highlight the first kick drum by clicking yes. We're going to scroll to the right and we're going to scroll down and choose load to project, load one sample. There we've got a kick drum, and let's go ahead and exit out of the third track here and put this snare drum on track number 2. We'll scroll down till we get to the kick drum. We're going to want that on track number 1 rather. So cool. Now let's try to load a snare drum onto track 2. We're going to go ahead and press play here and scroll down. Actually, I'm going to press down on the level data knob and scroll a lot faster till we get down to these snares. I'm going to go ahead and load a few of these snares actually. Let's just go ahead and load like 8 snares right off the jump. We'll scroll to the right. And we're going to scroll down and choose load to project. We'll go ahead and load these 8 snares up. And let's go ahead and assign one of these snares to the second slot. I kind of like that one. Let's go ahead and put that in. I'm going to, let's see here, we'll hit play, and I'll go ahead and hit record and play until we can get into a quantized live recording mode. 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, and, whoops, those are the wrong tracks. Let's try that one more time. 4, 2, 3, and. Cool. Go ahead and bring the volume on these hats down a little bit so our kick and our snare punch over the top of them instead of combating with them so much in the frequency range. Bring this kick up just a tiny little bit. And let's go ahead and hit function and LFO and go over to our master compression settings. Let's take the threshold of our master compressor up quite a bit. Start with 67 and bring a little bit of this compressor in the mix. It gives us a little bit more life and squeezes the levels together. Hope we're not overdriving the level of my recording now. I'm going to go ahead and check that, and we'll skip on to the next segment and add a bass. Let's go ahead and see if we can find a bass sample or a bass type of groove that will go with the beat we've created. It's probably going to get a little bit loud as we go back into the sample folder. We're in the drum and bass XXL folder again, and we're just going to scroll down until we get to some basses or here's some bass loops we can check out maybe. These are going to be a little bit loud on this track. Let's go ahead and put the bass on track 5. And what we'll do is we're going to bring the volume down on this track as we scroll. Cool. Whoops. There we go. We'll go ahead and back scroll to some bass sounds. Top loops, some air horn, here's some bass sounds. Kind of like that one. Kind of like that one too. That's cool. Let's go ahead and load those 3 bass sounds. We'll select those and we'll scroll to the right, and then we'll scroll down and click load to project. Now we've got those 3 different bass samples loaded in our project. Let's go to the source page, and we're going to assign one of those bass samples to pad number 5 here. That's kind of cool right off the jump. Like I missed a couple of those steps here. Should be on 7 and 13, so we'll copy that and put that over on 13. We'll copy this one and put that over on 7. Copy both of these and put them where they go. Cool. Maybe we can take a filter on this bass sound and filter some of the high frequency content out of this sound. Maybe we can do some bit reduction on the sound, get it pretty nasty. Little goes a long way, but sometimes it's fun to go too far. Let's go with about 33 on the bit reduction for now. Cool. So we've got our bass pattern on track number 5 here. So if I open up the recording window, we can see where those steps fall. Go ahead and see if we can't squeeze the other 2 bass shots in that we've loaded up into the session by putting one here, holding the step down, going to the source page, and choosing a different one of those samples. Cool, I kind of like that. We're going to copy that and do the same on measure 3. We bring the volume on that step down to about 92. And we'll do that on both measures that we added it. Let's go ahead and see if we can get away with adding that 3rd bass stab in. Maybe we'll try to add it here. We're going to go to the source, and we'll scroll to that additional bass sound. Ooh, that's cool. In fact, what let's do is let's hold page and hit copy. Scroll to the next page and hit paste. And just paste that measure in on all 4 measures. Now, if we look at the dots here, which show us what bar we're on, I'm working on the bar number 4, which is kind of like our turnaround pattern. So maybe we'll put something else in on the 4th measure for bass, just to give us a little bit of a bonus. Let's put a dot right here and hold this down. Let's choose maybe a different sound, different bass sound. And then let's go to the trigger page, and let's raise this note up by 1 octave and see what happens. That's pretty cool. Let's make this note, yeah, it's pretty short. So maybe we'll give this bonus note here, a little bit of extra bit reduction. Ooh, that's cool. And maybe we'll give this a little bit of overdrive and bring the level back. Maybe a lot of overdrive and more bit reduction. Here, see how I'm holding this step down this whole time so that I can keep adjusting just this step? Cool. Now what let's do for the final thing for this step is let's make it so that it doesn't trigger every single time we go through the 4-bar pattern. And I'm going to use the conditional trigger to set this to, oh, I don't know, 67% chance that this note will play. And let's copy this note now with the conditional trigger and everything and paste it over on the last step of our measure just for fun. And maybe let's bring this up one more semitone. Play through it a couple more times so that I can hear it getting triggered. Ooh, that's cool. In fact, let's grab this note and put it on the second measure. Maybe here. And maybe here. Maybe not there. And maybe here instead. Yeah, that's cool. But what let's do is on this one here, let's bring the amplitude down a little so that it's just a short little note. In fact, let's paste it over here. All this is just about experimentation, but the bonus in using the samples in this pack is that all of the samples already are tuned to go together. Let's go ahead and load up another sample from the collection. We're going to use pad 7 this time. We're going to go back into the samples folder. I'll push down on the level data wheel and we'll scroll down quite a bit faster and get to like the shakers and rides and stuff that are included in this pack. Let's go ahead and get, actually why not? Let's get all 3 of these rides into our session. Load to project, load 3 samples, yes. And let's get a ride going on pad number 7. So I will scroll down to one of those new samples. Bring the level on the ride down quite a bit. And maybe pan that a little bit to the left. Let's go ahead and go into record mode here. We've got live record in quantized mode. Cool. Maybe we'll put a high-pass filter on that ride and take out any hidden low frequencies that may be hanging out down there. A little delay on that ride. Cool. Maybe bring the volume back even more so it's just kind of subtle in the mix. Let's go ahead and take our hi-hats channel and let's add some reverb to that. We'll hit function and reverb to go into our reverb settings page. We're going to high pass this reverb a little bit and give it quite a bit more decay. Add a little bit, a tiny little bit of delay to our main hats. Yeah, awesome. So here's some reverb on those hats just to kind of put them in an acoustic space. Maybe some reverb on the snare now would be appropriate. Maybe a little bit of overdrive on this snare might be nice. Very subtly, just a little amount. Starting to sound pretty cool here. We're going to go function and LFO again to get back to our master compression settings. We're going to turn our compression mix up a little bit. And adjust this threshold just the tiniest bit so that I'm seeing just the tiniest little bit of compression start to happen. We'll see this little... see if I turn the threshold way down, we'll see this representation here that we're doing a lot of compressing. But I want it just very subtle and catching just some tiny peaks. I don't want to squash what we've created per se. This is sounding pretty good. Let's go ahead and scroll for some more sounds in the pack of samples. Got like an air horn in here. I thought that was pretty funny. Right? A couple of loops in here, but let's see if we can't find more like a chord stab or a melodic chop or something of that nature. It's kind of cool. Let's just grab that while we're here and say yes to that sound. That's cool too. Let's grab that. That's cool too. Let's grab those three sounds just for fun. Load those to the project. Yes. So on track 4, we don't have a sound that we're using yet. Let's go ahead and hit the source button and we'll scroll down to those new sounds that we just added in. Let's get that in. Maybe put some reverb on that sound. And maybe high pass filter any hidden low frequencies from that sound. Maybe make it a tighter sound. Cool. And some more reverb and delay now. Maybe pan it a little to the right. Give it its own sort of acoustic space. Cool. So on the track with that little noise sample, we have, plenty of other steps. Let's go ahead and use some of these other steps and lock another one of those melodic samples to these. Let's lock chop 7 and chop 9. Cool. And let's copy this whole page and paste that into the 4th page so that it starts to repeat this melodic stuff we've got in here. It's sounding pretty good. Alright. Let's see if we can add yet another, like a big kind of a stab sound of some kind on this track 8 over here. Kind of like that sound. It's kind of like a vocal sample of somebody saying fire. Let's go ahead and load that thing up, shall we? I don't want to rename it. We want to load the project. And let's go ahead and hit the source button. And we'll assign that new sample to the last slot here. Maybe some delay and reverb on that sample. Maybe a lot of delay on that sample. And maybe we go to the delay page, high pass filter this a little bit, turn on the ping pong, and some extra width so we get a stereo delay sound and a little bit more feedback on that delay. Cool. But what let's do is let's make the first one not happen, so it's just the second one in the mix for a little bit more fire. A little bit more dramaticness there. Let's go ahead and bring the reverb up on that. 1, 2, 3, and fire. Cool. So here we have it. It's just that easy to start putting together some really neat sounding drum and bass beats using these samples, especially because they're all tuned and meant to go together in the key of F minor at the tempo of 174 BPM. Let's see if we can't write another groove. Let's try to do one more example real quick. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to try to go a little bit faster this time. And what I've done is I've just gone ahead and loaded some of the extra samples from the sample pack right into this session, so we don't have to do quite as much scrolling. Let's go ahead and go over to pattern 2 at this time. We don't have any patterns here at all. Let's go ahead and start the same way by loading up a hi-hat onto pad 3 and getting sort of a hi-hat groove started. We'll click the source button and we'll just scroll down to some of these closed hi-hats. Oh, that's nice. Let's go ahead and grab that one. And let's put a high pass filter on that to get rid of any extra low frequency content. And let's make it a really, really short, tight hat. And let's also put a little bit of reverb on this and some delay. Maybe not quite so much. Cool. Let's go ahead and start by just putting this on eighth notes for now. And let's lower the attack on this so it's a little bit softer. Cool. Let's go ahead and load up a snare drum by hitting the source page, scrolling down to some snare drums here. It's kind of unexpected. Let's go with that one for now and just put that in on the 5 and 13. It's a little bit loud maybe. Bring the level down. Whoops, on these hi-hats again. Sometimes my buttons stick on the Digitakt. It's a little frustrating, you know, but what are you going to do? Cool, getting that hi-hat tuned a little bit tighter. And let's add some more, you know, hi-hat sounds to this hi-hat pattern and get a little bit more of a rhythm going here. Cool. Let's, on this step here, let's hold the step down and bring the volume down. Maybe on this step here, we'll pan this hi-hat 10 to the left as well. Maybe bring the volume down even more. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and make this so that it doesn't trigger every single time, but maybe more like, I don't know, 81% of the time. And we'll copy and paste this extra hi-hat hit out a few more times. Maybe on these last two hits on the measure, we'll change the sound up just to get a little more variation. Cool. And then maybe we can just go function and page and make this into a 4-bar loop. Okay, function page. Whoops, I screwed that up. Make it a 4-bar loop and hit function and page again. Let's go ahead and add a kick drum at this time. We'll make sure we're on the source page here, and we'll choose one of these kick drums for this pack. Scroll down here, find one of these kicks. That's a huge kick. Let's go ahead and get that kick. That's pretty monstrous. And we're in a quantized record here. Ooh, that's kind of cool, kind of old school. You guys know I like that old school flavor. Let's go ahead and maybe put a bass on track 5 here. So we'll make sure we're on the source page. And we're going to scroll to some bass sounds. Maybe we'll scroll down a little bit further. Ooh, that's pretty crazy right there. We'll go into a quantized mode. So if we go into the bass track, we can literally, you know, see and hear where the bass is falling in our groove. Let's go ahead and lock another bass sound to this step right here. We'll do the same to this bass step down here. Let's make this last bass step a little bit shorter in length. So rather, we're going to go bring the release of this down quite a bit. And let's copy this page, scroll over to the 3rd page, and paste it in there as well. Let's add a sound on track 4 here. That's kind of a cool other snare. Maybe we could... That's cool. Go into a quantized live recording mode. Maybe put a little bit of reverb on this snare. Let's go ahead fun for a sound to put on track 6 here. I'll scroll down in the mix a little. Some break beats coming through there. There's some stab sound. Maybe we can get one of these in. Ooh, that's cool. Let's get that in. Go ahead and put that in on the downbeat. Every couple of measures, maybe. Bring the volume back on that a little. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this is more of like an underground drum and bass groove. I'm digging this totally. So the point of this video, guys, is just to show you how easy it is to work with these samples that are now coming free when you purchased my Digitakt bundle. The bonus about these is that, oh, for Pete's sake, we weren't on the right tempo this whole time. We were on 120 beats per minute. This is hilarious. I can't believe I've been so silly here. Let's go up to 174 beats per minute, and now let's play this groove. I can't believe I didn't notice that. Oh my gosh, we are definitely leaving this clip in. This is comedy. There we go. How about some drum and bass, Scarecrow? So that pattern before, I guess, was a little more breakbeat sounding. I guess this goes to show, though, that you can pretty much write some other genres and tempos with this pack if you're using the one-shots and not the loops. But here we have it turned into more of a drum and bass beat. Oh, this is so embarrassing. I'm definitely leaving this clip in. Oh my gosh. Okay, but so the point, you guys, is just how easy it is to work with these samples and how you can create drum and bass just like that.